Hey everyone, so I'm making this video because I love seeing people hit their fitness goals. I love seeing people who are overweight lose the weight because it's something I did. I was a little bit overweight. I let myself go, especially after high school, going into college, and in my sophomore year of college, in my second semester, I was able to lose almost 30 pounds just like that. So I want to see other people do that with even more dramatic changes. I want to see someone who's like 260 plus go down to their ideal weight of 180, 170 easily. But there's a few things that people need to know that isn't really said nowadays on how to actually lose weight. With obesity becoming more and more dangerous each and every day, it's good to know what the reason is, why everyone's getting fat. And the media nowadays would love to tell you that it is because of carbs, and that carbs are the reason why you're getting fat. And a lot of personal trainers will even tell you that you're getting fat because you eat carbs. And they're going to tell you just cut out the carbs, and that's what the keto diet basically is. It's high fat, kind of a little bit of protein, and no to little carbs. The truth is, carbs are not the enemy. Your true enemy is overeating. And in this video, I want to show you guys how to calculate if you are overeating and how much you should be eating if you're trying to lose weight. To start this, you need to check what your TDEE is, which is total daily energy expenditure. And what this basically means is how many calories do you burn a day? Just your normal day of living. If you go to the gym or if you don't go to the gym, if you go to work or whatever you do, it's just your normal day of living. How many calories do you burn? And to figure this out, I have a calculator below linked in the description that's going to show you how to do it. And I'm going to put right here what I did for my own calculations. So I'm 20 years old, 183 pounds, and you pick your lifestyle. Now, a lot of people mess up on this part. A lot of people are going to want to put that they're more active than they actually are. And there's a reason why we're obese. It's because we're not that active. With that in mind, you want to look at your choices. I would recommend a lot of people, especially if you're new to fitness, to pick sedentary. The reason I'm saying to pick sedentary is because most of us either go to school all day or we have a 9-to-5 job. And in both of those, you're sitting down for a majority of your time. And what do we do when we come home after those 9-to-5 jobs or when we come back from school? We come home and sit down on the couch or we take a nap and we just do more inactive things. All of these things add up. And this is why I'd say pick sedentary, because that's what most of us do with our lifestyle. So now we're going to look at what my TDEE actually is. According to this calculator, I should be burning 2,837 calories a day. That's a little high. I kind of say more like 2,750. So to be safe, I would do something like 2,750, 2,700 a day. So another thing you could see on this app is your ideal weight. And it says mine's 152 to 157. That is not actually accurate. If you have muscle mass, a lot of these calculations are going to be a little off with the ideal weights and the BMIs. At my leanest, I was 157. In this picture. Yes, that is possible, and it's plausible that that could be an ideal weight for me, but that weight was so low for me and the body fat percentage was so low for me that it was something that I couldn't sustain for a long period of time. It was just something I wanted to reach for the summer. I'd say my ideal weight at a healthy, fit weight would probably be around 165 to 170, which is what I usually weigh. And I still have abs and everything, but right now I was doing a bulk for a few months, so I gained a lot more muscle mass and fat. So it's probably still going to be a little bit higher. It's going to be more towards like 170, maybe 168. Next thing I want to touch on is the BMI in this part. Again, BMI is something that doesn't really work if you have muscle mass. It can work still, but not too much. So mine says that I'm overweight. I am overweight, so that is right. But I'm probably a little bit lower than it's saying because I still have a little bit of abs. I'm not that far off. If you are completely untrained, you're brand new to working out, this will be a little bit more accurate for you. Just a reminder, don't let BMI or this ideal weight get to you. Do not let them get to you. If it says you're overweight or obese on your BMI and 6 months, a year down the line, you look a lot better, but you still see it says you're not your ideal weight and you're still obese, don't listen to it. Look at your body. Don't listen to these ideal weights. It even says in those calculations that this doesn't calculate properly if you have muscle mass or if you work out. The last thing that it shows is your macronutrient breakdown. I'm going to show you your own formula on how to figure out a more personalized macronutrient breakdown. So here we go. So as we found out before, my maintenance calories we're going to say is 2,700. I like to cut 500 calories off in the beginning, and that's what I recommend for every single person. Start with 500 calories below what your maintenance is. If your maintenance is 2,000 calories, start with 1,500 calories. If your maintenance is 2,500, start with 2,000. So I'm going to start with 2,200 calories. Now the first macronutrient we're going to look at, or macro for short, we're going to look at is your protein. That's the easiest one to figure out. So here's the diagram for protein. For protein, you could either do 0.75, 1, or 1.25 grams of protein per body weight. So we said that I'm 183 pounds, so if I did 1 gram of protein, it would be 183 grams of protein. To break down what the 0.75, 1, and the 1.25 are saying, I'd say if you are untrained, completely overweight to obese, you never worked out, and you don't really plan on working out, stick with 0.75. Even if you are working out and you're brand new to working out, stick with 0.75 at least for the first month or two. If you want to start with 1 gram is the universal golden standard, and that's something I would try to stick with, and I would recommend that to most people. Unless you're extremely obese or overweight, then I'd say go to 0.75. But if you feel confident, I'd do 1 gram. 1 gram's not that bad. You don't need 1.25. That's if you're like super shredded, you're at like 12 to 10% body fat and you're still going lower and lower. These are the people that either want to look ridiculous for the summer or they are doing preps for a bodybuilding competition. There's no other reason to really go that high. Usually what I do is I'll start with 1 gram of protein and then I'll kind of move it a little bit more this way and I'll stop at maybe like 1.1, 1.15. I don't go that much higher because I don't really need to go that much higher. Doing my own estimate, we're going to stick with 183. That's my protein. If you guys fall below, you can figure out yours. Next, we're moving on to fat. So with fat, you could do 0.3 to 0.4. Now, 0.3 is the people that love their carbs. You love eating oatmeal, you love eating bread, you love eating all your carbs. You like to get your carbs. That's how you live off of your life. Your 0.35 is people who kind of don't really care. They could eat fats or carbs. They kind of bounce around it, or they like both. And then 0.4 is people who can live without carbs and you love your fats. That's the nuts, the butters, and all of that. So if you love eating your peanut butter, there you go. You would be more of a 0.4. I'm kind of in the middle. When I started my diet, I was more of a 0.4, and I kind of lowered it as I went on because I realized I kind of needed to eat more carbs. It was kind of hard for me to not eat carbs because I was eating protein bars and this and that, and they all had carbs in it because of fiber and this and that. So I felt like I needed a little bit more carbs, so I went down to 0.3. The difference I found in both of these, being from 0.4 and 0.3, is at 0.3, I felt a lot stronger in the gym. I felt a lot better in the gym. I felt a little bit more awake, but my body felt a little bit bigger, not just fatter, just like bigger in general, and it felt a little bit harder to slim down. At 0.4, I felt like I was losing weight faster, but I wasn't getting that much stronger. And I don't think it's because of my protein intake, because that would be more of the strength orientation. It's more that I just didn't have the energy. And I think it's because carbs are typically a better source of energy than fats are, but you need fats to survive. You actually need fats to live. You need a certain amount in your body. So 0.3 is a good number, just above the minimum that you need to survive. So I'm probably, this time, I'm going to stick with a 0.35 and then see how it goes as I move on. So 0.35 in my case would be 64 grams. These numbers are what you're going to multiply by your weight. So I weigh 183, so I do 0.3 times 183 depending on if I want no fats and more carbs. And that would give me about 55 grams. All of these are decimals, they're not exact, but I just rounded it because you're not going to have a point of a gram, so you're just going to round it. It's a lot easier to do it that way. The last thing is how many carbs you're going to need. So to find carbs, I know this looks super confusing. It's just a little bit more math, but once you realize what I'm saying, it's a lot easier. So you're going to start the grams of protein times 4. So how many grams of protein? I said 183, so it would be 183 times 4. It's your protein calories. That KCAL is just calories. It's short for calories. Grams of fat times 9. and you do times 9 because fat is 9 calories per gram and protein is 4 calories per gram. That's why you do 4 and 9. So then you're going to get your fat calories, protein calories, and you're going to add them up. So we said 183 times 4 was mine for protein, which would add to 732. Jesus Christ, my handwriting is terrible. And then we're going to do 64 times 9 for fat, 576 calories. And you're just going to add these two numbers together to get your total. So combined protein and fats, mine is 1308. And we said I was going to be 2200 calories. So it would be 2200 minus 1308, because that's our total subtracted by our protein and fat combination, and then that will give you your amount of carbs. 892 calories of carbs. So now that we have 892, we're going to do 892 divided by 4. We said that 1 gram is 4 calories for carbs as well as protein. And with this, you get the number of 223 grams. So that's how many grams of carbs I'm going to be eating. So now we're going to take all those numbers. So we're going to take the 83 for protein, 64 for fats, and we're going to take the 223 for carbs. So that is going to be my total macros for when I'm losing weight. This is a super easy way to break down how you guys can figure out what your calories and your macros are going to be for losing weight. Now there's one more question. Now that you've given me all of these macros and calories, how do I calculate them? And that's what we're going to move on to next. So the easiest way to keep track and calculate these calories and macros is by downloading the app MyFitnessPal. You can find it in the Google Play and the Apple Store. It's free, so you don't have to pay anything. They do have a subscription service, but you don't need to use that. You can ignore it. Once you open the app, you're going to have to create an account. You create the account, and then you can get started. You're going to fill out your information, and then I want you to go to your More tab, go to Goals, and then you should have already put in your starting weight and all of that. I want you to put your goal weight. Now, your goal weight is something you might not hit if you don't know what it should be, depending on how overweight you are and if you're training, because you're going to be building muscle and you're going to be surprised how much muscle actually weighs, but you're going to be looking a lot better. So don't really worry about a goal weight. Just give yourself a ballpark idea. So, for example, if you're a 5'10" male, try to go for 180 pounds. If you're a 5'2" female, try to go for something like 130, 125, 120 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark range. Once you're on the goals tab, I want you to go to calories, carbs, fats, and proteins. Now it's going to have you put in these numbers. I want you to put in your own numbers. I'm going to put in my own numbers. Okay, so once you put in your calories, make sure you hit the check mark so it updates everything. And then you're going to go to your carbs, fats, and proteins. And if you don't have the paid version, then you can't do exact amounts. The paid version allows you to do exact amounts, but that doesn't really matter. You're just going to have a standard deviation of about 5 or 10 upper or lower. Our protein, we said I wanted 183. So if we go to 183, that's somewhere between 30 and 35%. I'd rather go to 35% and do 193. The 10 grams is nothing. That's not even that much harder to hit. So I'm going to do 193 grams of protein. We said we wanted 63 grams of fat. So there we go. 61 grams is perfect. And it was 223 grams of carbs. And at 40%, that's 220. So the 3 grams I've lost, that's nothing. So I'm going to hit yes. And my macros are all set. So I have 40% carbs, 35% protein, and 25% fat. Now, the average they usually say is 40, 40, 20. I liked that, and that's what I used at first, but I felt like for myself that didn't really work. I like to be a little bit more in the middle, so that's why I have 40, 35, 25. It just works a lot better for me. You're all set up, you know your calories, you know your macros. Now, how do you actually figure out what's in your food? And now I'm going to show you that real quick right now. Alright, so here we go. I have my food. I have my packet of tuna. And on the back, it has a barcode, and that's what we're going to use. So to scan a barcode, you could scan barcodes by pressing the button on the top, but I'm recording my screen right now, so it doesn't let me do that. So instead, we're going to go to Add Food. and you could just type in the food. It will save you recent foods that you have. So I'm going to write Star-Kissed, white tuna. Hit search, and it will come up. The check mark means that it's verified by that company that it is the exact ones. So if you go out to a restaurant, because they don't have barcodes on their food, there are a lot of companies on here that actually have their foods on there. So Applebee's, Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, everything. All the major food restaurants have their own menus on here. You press on it and you can look through. The one problem I ran into is that it's not updated and it doesn't have the entire menu. Because restaurants add and remove things, so they don't have everything, but they usually have a majority and their major things that they have, like the big ones. So right here it says chunk white tuna in water, and that's what I have right here. So we're going to press on that one, and it says 2.6 ounces. This is a 2.6 ounce package. It's one serving. That's another thing. You have to check your servings and your amounts. So if you look right here, it says that it is one serving is 80 calories. And it says serving size per package is 1. Sometimes it will say one serving is 80 calories and serving size per package is 5. If you eat the whole package, you're not eating 80 calories, you end up eating 400 calories. So to add servings, if I eat 2 of these packets, I would do my serving size as 2, which would be 160 calories. So I had 2 packets, 160 calories, 34 grams of protein. That's a pretty good start. So tuna in this case is a good food. It's high in protein, low in fat, low in carbs, and it's good. So if you like tuna, you can keep eating it. Just don't eat a lot of tuna because you're probably going to throw up. So I'm going to add this food, hit the check mark, and the food is added. And even the app will tell you if it's high in protein and it's good. If it ever shows up red, sometimes it will say that this is too much fat and you're close to your over amounts on fat, or it'll say this food makes you go over. Or if it has bad ingredients, it will say this food has too much saturated fat, which in excess, saturated fat is bad. I try to say don't go over 20 grams of saturated fat a day. The last tip I want to give before I go, and this kind of ties in with the low sugar and no sugar things, do not drink your calories. That is the worst way to get calories. If you are trying to lose weight, you do not need to be drinking soda. I don't care if it's Diet Coke, Coke Zero, or Coke. It's all bad for you. Just because it has 0 calories doesn't mean it's helping for you. A fun fact, Coke Zero and Diet Coke have a sweetener called aspartame. Aspartame is used in rat poisons to make the rats want to go to the poison to kill them because it's so sweet. That's why we drink it. But it's in such a minute amount that it won't do damage to us. Except what aspartame does in the body, it absorbs fat cells. So you might be drinking these 0-calorie drinks, but you're absorbing and holding on to your fat, which is not what you want to do. You want to lose weight. So you have to keep that in mind. If you want to drink water, water is the best thing for you. You need water to survive, and it's 0 calories, and the only ingredient is always water. Unless you get something fancy, it's always water. If you want to dive out to other things, 0-calorie seltzers are fine from time to time. I wouldn't drink them all the time, but they keep you sane. Vitamin waters, try to get vitamin zero because there's 2 types of vitamin water, one with sugar and one without. Get the one without. It might not taste as good. I don't really notice a difference, but it saves you the calories. Very last thing, if you are trying to lose weight, be honest with yourself. Don't give yourself cheat days. You don't need a cheat day. If you are 300 pounds, you had a cheat day your entire life. You don't need a cheat day. If you're lower in weight, maybe a cheat day from here and there, but set yourself some goals. Like I said before, you're not going to reach that bottom goal weight that you probably want because you're going to be building muscle if you're working out. If you're a guy and you're overweight and by the end of 4 weeks, you've lost 4 pounds, that's pretty good. You know what? Maybe give yourself a cheat day. Just one cheat day, not even a cheat day. Give yourself a cheat meal. If you miss your Chick-fil-A for 1 day, just go to Chick-fil-A, eat your chicken sandwich, eat your waffle fries, maybe get a small shake, and then remember, that's it. Start again. Next meal, start your diet again. You're only stopping for 1 meal. I don't believe in cheat days. Give yourself cheat meals. You don't want a cheat day. A cheat day will just throw you off balance completely. That's it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helps people. And if you want to come back for the next video to learn a little bit more, I'm glad to help. My name's Spencer, and I hope you have a great day.